Hi guys, this is Sunita. Welcome to your class 11, English, chapter 1, part 4. So let us continue. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I was sure that she would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. Okay, that she was so old, she was terribly old, and I was just feeling that whenever I would come, I would never be able to see her again. That's why I was more upset, but she was not. But my grandmother could, but she could tell that up to how many years she was going to live, so she was not so upset. She was not even sentimental. She was not sentimental. She came to leave me at the station, at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. This was strange, that they were so good friends, and when the writer was going for further studies to abroad, okay, she did not talk to him. She did not show any emotion. She was not even sentimental. This was quite different. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of the rosary. Okay, so this were all these actions. The writer was just noticing. Silently, she kissed my forehead, and only one action was performed by her. And what was that? That she kissed on my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. This is according to the writer, that this would be the last physical contact between us, but this was not according to the grandmother. Okay, so when he left, when he left, he cherished. When he left, he cherished means he felt. The moist means wet, and imprint means mark on her forehead. But that was not so, because I told you initially also that it was according to the writer, that he was just hoping that she was so terribly old that he would not be able to see her again. But it was not so. After 5 years, when he came back, means I came back home, and I was met by her at the station. I met my grandmother at the station only. She did not took a day older. She did not look a day older. अब भी वो बिल्कुल बूढ़ी दिखाई नहीं दे रही थी. बिल्कुल नहीं लगता था कि एक दिन और बूढ़ी हो गई है. अब और ज़्यादा बूढ़ी नहीं हुई थी, because he was just telling us she was so terribly old. इससे ज़्यादा बूढ़ी हो ही नहीं सकती थी वो. That's why she still had no time for words. She was still busy, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. She did not talk to anybody. अभी उनके पास time नहीं था. She had no time to talk to anybody. And when she just clasped me, when she hugged me in her arms, okay, I could clearly hear the reciting of her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows. We were good friends. According to the writer, they were good friends. But still, after arrival of the writer, even the happiest moments of the grandmother were that with the sparrows only, whom she fed longer, and with the frivolous rebukes. Frivolous rebukes होते हैं, that very casual and light-hearted rebukes of grandmother. Okay, and here to the sparrows, she was just rebuking the sparrows with a very light manner. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. Okay, and this was quite different, strange, that she did not pray. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. Okay, उन्होंने एक पुराना बाजा लिया. Okay, and ढोलक, you can say. For several hours, she thumped. Okay, the sagging the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum, and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Now here, see, this term has been used for an old and worn out drum, and she was just playing that old and worn out drum, and she was singing the songs of homecoming warriors. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. अब हमें उनको रोकना पड़ा that please stop, otherwise it will be overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray, and this was the first time. Otherwise, whenever I just started to see, okay, whenever I started to notice her, it was not a single day that she missed her prayers, but this was the first time when she missed her prayers. Okay, this was quite strange for me. The next morning, she was taken ill, and of course the result, as we were afraid of, we were suspecting of, that she was ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor said that it would go, although it was a light fever and the doctor suggested that it would go, there was no problem. But my grandmother thought different. She was thinking differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. And she told us कि जिंदगी के आखिरी अध्याय को ख़त्म होने से पहले ही सिर्फ मैंने जो है ना अपनी प्रेयर को ओमिट किया है. शी वॉज नॉट गोइंग टू वेस्ट एनी मोर टाइम टॉकिंग टू अस, एंड she announced that she was not going to waste any more time because she had already missed her prayers, and it was the end of her life, so she must be busy with the prayers. We protested, but she ignored our protest. Although we just asked her not to do that, but she did not listen to us. She laid peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. उनके हाथ में एक माला थी, and she started to just telling the beads of her rosary. Even before we could suspect, और हमें कुछ शक होता, हमें कुछ डाउट हो पाता, इससे पहले क्या हुआ, that her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. Means her lips stopped moving means she was dead. A peaceful pallor spread on her face and we knew that she was dead. और एक peaceful pallor means pallor होता है, this is a paleness of face. एक पूरा चेहरा पीला हो गया था उनका, एक paleness उनके पूरे face पे spread हो गया था, and we knew that she was dead. We lifted her off the bed and, as is customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. Shroud होता है कफन. So what did we do? हमने उनको पलंग से नीचे उतारा, and then we did whatever according to the customs. We just covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, of course we all were mourning. We were just mourning for her that she had left them, and we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral, and it was necessary to make the arrangements for the funeral as well. So we left her alone, and we were busy in the arrangements for the funeral. In the evening, when we went to her room with a crude stretcher. Crude stretcher means this अर्थी का सामान होता है जो this very simple and very without any skill. Okay, that with that stretcher we went to the room to take her to the cremated means शमशान घाट के लिए. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden night, and it was the sunset time, and the sun was setting, and this was the last time sun, and it was looking very golden in the veranda and in the room. It was looking golden. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, और आंगन में आके हम रुक गए हाफ रास्ते में. All over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud, thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. And it was a place where she was wrapped, where she was lied. Okay, and thousands of sparrows were scattered there on the floors. on the floor, there was no chirping. Although actually what was a usual scene of any usual day, that she was just feeding the sparrows, and everywhere everybody could hear the chirping of the sparrows. But on that day particularly, it was quite surprising that no bird was chirping. All the sparrows were there, they were scattered on the floor, but they were not chirping, they were silent. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. And of course, we thought that it was not the mistake of the birds, so that's why they must be fed. So my mother just went inside and she brought some pieces of bread. She broke it into the little crumbs, and in the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread, but the sparrows, they did not pay attention towards the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse of the dead body, and when we carried my grandmother's dead body from there, they flew away quietly without any chirping. They all flew away. Next morning, the sweeper swept the bread crumbs into the dustbin. And the next day, what happened? The sweeper just threw those crumbs into the dustbin. So thank you guys, have a nice day. We'll meet in the next part. Thank you.